Hello, I'm Lorraine Marston and I'm one of the school nurses in Walsall, and I'd like to share a presentation with you around health and development, which is part of the Change Your Mind programme that's being delivered in Walsall. So welcome to the school nursing service. School nurses are qualified nurses. We've completed our training and we've got a variety of experience. We've worked on the wards, a lot of us, and we've also completed additional training in child health and wellbeing. We work in a team with staff nurses, nursery nurses, support workers and administrative staff. And the school nursing team support children and young people from reception age up until their 19th birthday. Young people who have disabilities or additional needs can also access our support, and that is until they're 25 years old. The team provides advice, support and help with a range of physical and mental health problems. And you may have seen our posters in schools, which shows there that we support around keeping healthy, immunisation support, emotional health, weight management, sexual health, drugs and alcohol, and smoking. So if you wish to access us, we operate a single point of access. We work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. You can call us on 01922 423349, or you can text us on 07520 634 909. And we do offer confidential advice and support. And our texting service allows parents and carers to contact us anonymously. So why are we here today? This parent workshop is part of the Change Your Mind programme. Pupils in Year 12 from Queen Mary's Grammar School have been trained as peer educators, and they are delivering lessons to your child around various topics. We would like to encourage parents and carers to talk to their child about what they've learnt in class, and the peer educators will have given your child some tips and ideas about how they can be healthier, happier and to stay safe. But they will need your support to put these things into practice. We also know that parenting doesn't come with a handbook, and sometimes as parents and carers we need to have some help and advice ourselves so that we can support our child. Hopefully these workshops will provide some support to you and ideas about where to go for further advice. So we'll start off with what is a healthy lifestyle. And a healthy lifestyle is lots of things combined. So it's all of these things that you can see in the picture. It's around accessing a healthy diet, and that means having a well-balanced diet with all foods from different food groups and in good proportions. We need to also drink plenty of fluids, and we need to think about healthy fluids as well, less fizzy pop, more water. We need to avoid substance misuse, and we've got there cigarettes and alcohol. We need to access lots of physical activity. We need to get our children to be active, get them outdoors, enjoying the fresh air. There's a variety of things there that children really like to do: swimming, playing in the park. It doesn't have to cost money, you can just go to the park. And if we can do these things as a family, that's even better. Children need to get a good night's sleep, they need to be comfortable, and if they do all of these things in conjunction with each other, it'll help to relieve their stress. They need to be able to be relaxed to have a healthy lifestyle. And why is it important? Well, it's important for our health, and that's various systems of the body. We need to be able to keep our heart healthy and working well for us. We need to keep our blood pressure down. We don't want to have any illnesses related to that. And diabetes, this is something that can develop if we have an unhealthy diet with lots of sugar and lots of fat in it. It also helps our mental health. If we can keep our body in tip-top condition, that helps our mind as well. And exercise is really good for our mental health as well. And it also helps keeping our teeth healthy, our dental hygiene and our dental health. So what is a healthy weight? Well, every child is different, and a healthy weight is based on the child's weight combined with their age, their height and their sex, and we are all different. We also think of BMI when we talk about a healthy weight. This is the body mass index. There's an example here, and it's plotted onto a BMI centile chart. You might be familiar with centile charts. When we weigh children and young people, we plot them on a chart. And you will have had a red book when they were little, and their early developmental height and weights will have been plotted on this. So there's an example here of a 7-year-old who's been weighed and measured, and it's already been plotted onto a centile chart originally. So we can see that his height measurement falls on the 9th centile and his weight measurement falls on the 50th centile. So this is higher than his height. And what we like is that these centiles should really correspond, but because they're not, we can see that when plotted on the BMI chart, it's actually giving him a BMI that's touching on the overweight range. And for his height, he should actually only be around the 33rd centile. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a height and weight that have a corresponding centile. There are a lot of myths out there around weight as well, and it's important to talk to young people about these. And ourselves, we often believe these myths, or we like to think that we do. So I'm not overweight, I'm just big boned. And this, of course, isn't true. Some people will have a bigger bone structure, they may be broad, they may be tall, but being overweight is around their excess body weight. It's just puppy fat. And again, children will change shape as they're growing and going through puberty. But if they are overweight, that isn't just puppy fat. And obesity is caused by fast food. Again, fast food isn't good for us, and fast food, if that's all we're eating, will cause us to gain weight. But obesity is caused by a variety of factors. It's caused by overeating and being inactive. And obesity is caused by too much screen time. Again, if we're having a lot of screen time, we're not active, but the screen time doesn't cause the obesity. The inactivity and the overeating causes the obesity. And low-fat foods are the best option. Low-fat foods are good for us, but we don't need to just eat low-fat foods. As children are growing, they need to eat a variety of food groups, and they need to have some high-fat foods as well for their development. So we've got some tips here for a healthy lifestyle. We've all probably heard of these, but it's just useful to bring them to mind. So 5 a day. Your children will be taught this in school quite a lot. It's important that they eat 5 portions of fruit and vegetables a day. And if we're unclear about what a portion is, a rough guide is that it's what we can hold in the palm of our hand. So it may be 1 apple or a small bunch of grapes. Cut back fat, and as we said, low fat is good in proportion. We don't want to eat an all high fat diet. We need to have moderation. Watch the salt. Again, a high salt content is bad for us, and especially as children are developing. We don't need to add extra salt to our products. And if we look at the labels when we go to the supermarket, it's quite set out quite clearly about how much salt is in a food package and what's good for us and what's not, and if it's a high salt content. Sugar swaps, these are a really good idea to think about with your children. So instead of them eating lots and lots of sugary foods and sweets, try and swap them for something that they'll enjoy that is also sweet, like fruit and orange, or it might be things like popcorn, rice cakes. But again, just be careful with the packaging, have a look on there, because some of them will have a higher sugar content. It's just about being a bit more aware of what is out there to buy. And get active. As we said before, being active is really good for our physical health, but it's also good for our emotional health. Get out there, do things together, get your children getting some fresh air. And me-sized meals, that's quite important when we've got a family. We may be cooking quite large portions for dad, but obviously the children don't all need to have the same portions, and we need to think about what is a right proportion for them. Don't just dish up the same amount for everyone, and you may have teenagers in the family and they may be eating a little bit more as well. So sleep, this is really important for a child's physical and mental well-being. We need to get them into a good sleep routine, and this is all about relaxing them ready for bed. So we can start off with getting them to have a relaxing bath, get into that routine. They can play in the bath, they can relax, they can have a little soak. It's good to avoid screen time before bed. Make sure that they turn these off because they can activate the brain, and it takes a long time for the brain then to switch off to get to sleep. So forget these before bed, get them to do more relaxing activities like reading a book. And reading a book together or with other brothers and sisters is a really nice relaxing activity that they can do. And remember that some children may be scared of the dark, they might be anxious about going to sleep, so they may benefit from a night light. And it's always good to talk to children before they go to sleep, what sort of a day they've had, have they got any worries, get those out of the way really, and make sure that they're nice and relaxed. Sun exposure is also something that we need to think about with health and development, mainly because sunburn increases the risk of skin cancer. But it doesn't just happen on holiday. You can burn in the UK, and you can burn even when it's cloudy. So in the summer, try and stay in the shade from 11 till 3, keep covered up a little bit. And when we look at sunscreen, it's important that we look at what is on the bottle of them. We need a UVB sun protection factor of 30 plus for children and 4-star protection or higher. It's really important to protect their skin when they're younger. And it's getting them to think about taking a little bit of responsibility themselves for it as well. You know, if they're aware of it, they can be encouraged to take that responsibility. Smoking and alcohol. There's no safe drinking level, but obviously if we are drinking alcohol, it can increase the risks of accidents, misjudging risky situations and losing self-control. And smoking doubles the risk of chest illness, ear infections and asthma. And this is just something to educate our children around for as they're getting older. You know, they will be going up into secondary school next year. But it's also something to think about at home. It's not just what our young people are doing, it's what's happening in the family environment as well. And it's good to be healthy as a family. So we're going to talk a little bit about puberty. Obviously, your children are in year 6 and they're going to be developing into puberty. So what is puberty? It's when a child's body begins to develop and change as they become an adult. You can access a bit more information on the NHS website there. But when we think about puberty education in school, sometimes it's a little bit of the unknown really, and we don't know what our children are being taught about. So this is just to let you know what they will be learning in school. And we do often think that puberty is all about physical aspects, but actually it covers emotions, it covers personal safety. These are all to be considered as children are growing up and experiencing the world. Healthy lifestyle, again, this has a big impact on them as they're growing up. We have obviously got our body changes, personal hygiene, and healthy relationships. These are all things that are impacted on by puberty, and they will have a level of this being taught to them in school. But it's mainly about letting them get an understanding, letting them know what's going to be going on, what they're going to be going through. If they can understand it, it's less frightening and less scary, and they know that it happens to everybody. So it helps if we can talk to our children about puberty. However, this can be a little bit daunting. We can be worried about it, we can be worried about what we're going to talk about, we can be embarrassed, or our children can be embarrassed, but it's really important. We need to reassure our children that the changes are normal when they're going through puberty, and everyone goes through these changes, and the adults have been through them as well, so you know we can remember and we do understand. And it's a very unsettling time for young people. And we need to help our child to understand their emotions, because when they're going through puberty, they are going to experience mood swings, anxieties, frustrations. They might be upset one minute, they might be fine the next. But it's helped them to understand that this is all normal. We've all been through it, other people are going through it. And we understand that they will be feeling quite a turmoil inside. And it's important that the little chat happens, because they need to feel supported. They need not to be frightened. A lot of the time it's the unknown. They hear stories at school, friends are telling them things, they might see something on the television, But if we can tell them what actually happens and what they can expect, then that can help them to feel a lot more secure about it. And we need to help them to prepare for what they will expect. We need to help them to make healthy decisions regarding their bodies as well. They need to look after their bodies, they need to keep safe, they need to keep clean, and they need to have good hygiene. And this is where we help them to care for their bodies. Changes will be happening, and they are growing up, and they need to be able to have good hygiene. So when does puberty start? There's no sort of set rule, but the average age for girls is 11 and the average age for boys is 12, and that is an average. Some children can start puberty as young as 8 and some can be as late as about 14, but it's all quite normal. So again, it's reassuring them that lots of their friends may have begun puberty, but it doesn't make them any different. It's just that it will start at a different time. So it's not to be worried really, but it's good for them to have an expectancy of when it could start. So we have a little look at the body changes in girls, and it's helpful for you to go through this with the children and just get them to understand that they will be changing, because it can be really embarrassing for them, especially if they start a little bit early. But again, it's reassuring them that everybody will be going through it, and they'll be able to support each other. So one of the first things is underarm, leg and genital hair. And this can happen quite early as a first sign of puberty. So it's just letting your children know that that happens and it's quite normal and that we all do go through that. Their breasts will start to develop. You'll notice that girls will get little buds developing. And they can be a little bit uncomfortable for them as well, but that's normal because it's the hormone changes. So again, just reassure them. The periods can start, and that's not always one of the first signs of puberty. That can happen a little bit after the other signs. But again, it's preparing your child for school and puberty, making sure that they've got a little bag with them in their bag of pads and wipes so that they can be prepared if anything happens and that they feel quite secure. And let them know that they can talk to people, they can talk to you, they can talk to somebody in school if they have a problem. So the hips can broaden, body shape will change, and again, that's all perfectly normal. Emotional changes we've touched on before. They will have a lot of mood swings and they will be feeling fine one minute, they might be crying the next. But again, it's telling them that this is normal and that they shouldn't feel frightened by it, and it will pass, and it is because of hormones. And they will get increased sweating and greasy hair and face. And this is where hygiene is really important. Again, tell them it's normal, it's due to the hormones, but they need to look after themselves and wash their face with water. Increased sweating, we don't want them to get BO and smell. So it's really important that they keep themselves clean. Boys, some of them are similar. Obviously, we've got some obvious differences. The penis and testicles will start to grow on boys. And this is a slow change, really, but it's, they do need to know that this is going to happen. Muscles will develop, so again, they'll have some body shape changes. They'll fill out a little bit. They'll get increased sweating, so again, hygiene. We don't want them smelling, we don't want them to have BO. It's important that they don't get talked about at school. The voice will start to change, and this can be quite scary for some boys because it can be sudden change and it can vary. They can be up one minute, down the next. But again, it's just keep reassuring them that that is normal and that every boy will be going through it. The shoulders will broaden, so again, body shape will change. They'll get some facial and chest hair, and again, this will be small to start with, but it's important as they do get some facial hair that we explain to them about shaving and we show them how to do it safely. And greasy hair and face, so again, washing and keeping clean is important. And emotional changes, boys go through them too. We tend to think that girls will have a lot more mood swings, but we have to remember that boys are having hormonal changes as well, and they will get emotional changes, and that can lead to frustration and outbursts. So emotional changes in puberty, we've talked about this really, but we'll get mood swings. So you can be high and happy 1 minute, quite ecstatic. And then the next minute you can be quite angry, frustrated, you don't know what's going on. And children will know that they're having these mood swings, but they won't understand why and they won't know how to cope with it. So it's important that we do keep explaining that it's normal. And they can often feel oversensitive and get upset very easily. And again, reassure them this is normal and try to understand them, sit down, talk about things, and you'll find that they'll be fine again the next minute. And they can feel different about their peers as well. Things can change in friendship groups as they're getting older and going through puberty. Girls might have had boys that were friends, that they were playing outside with, getting dirty with. And then all of a sudden, they change and they find that they've got a lot more in common with girls and they don't want to go out there doing tomboy things. They want to, get together with girls. And that's normal, but it's also normal if they still have boys as friends, and they may change and they may have an interest in the opposite sex as well. So it's just being aware of all this and just explaining to them that, again, as we've said, it is normal. So if you do want any more advice or help from us about any of the things we've talked about, or anything else regarding your child's health and well-being or emotional health, please contact us on the number that we talked about earlier. You can email us, and we've also got a Twitter account. We've got our texting service, which is called the Parent Chat Health, and we've got a web page as well, which has got lots of information on there. And we've also got websites for children, which school will be aware of. So please contact us for advice, or ask schools as well, because they have a lot of information about us and how to contact us. So thank you very much for listening. Obviously you can't ask me any questions at the moment, but please get in touch with us if you do have any questions by text or call. And thank you again. And I hope it was helpful.